Hello and welcome to Faith with Flavor. Many Hispanics realize the importance of giving because they understand the need that is present in most Latin American countries. As is the case for today's guest, Johana Hernandez, who is a Salvadorian fashion designer with a strong conviction for giving back. Today we are going to hear her story from growing up in Compton to becoming a well-known fashion designer who uses her clothing line to help children struggling from poverty in Latin America. But before we listen to her story, here's a look into a ministry that is also practicing the art of giving. Watch this. Every day, a large percentage of the Los Angeles population struggle with the basic necessities to survive. Luckily, there is a ministry that is willing to extend out a helping hand to those in need. Parents stood in line alongside their children to receive some of the charity work being provided by Fred Jordan Missions. Some of the recipients had been waiting in line since the early morning hours. And how long have you been here?
3 a.m.
3 a.m.
Yes.
Wow.
We haven't eaten nothing, only an ice cream.
Deborah, a single mother, expressed her gratitude for the Fred Jordan Missions.
We don't have a job. You know, a lot of us don't have a job, and we're struggling, and, you know, kids, they need shoes, you know, and we can't afford them. And it's just so wonderful that they help us out like this every year, you know. It's really a blessing.
But the event didn't just bless mothers like Deborah. Many volunteers expressed how grateful they felt for being a part of this giving event.
It's just wonderful to see kids look on their faces when they get like a new pair of shoes or a backpack or a haircut even. Like I had a couple kids that I just super excited about the haircut they got.
Because I love God, and I know this is what God would want us to do. Is, you know, help the community, is to be a servant.
We're prepared to serve nearly 5,000 needy and impoverished children here in Los Angeles County. As the kids go through the line, they'll go through the alley, and we have over 24 Foot Locker associates there, and they're sizing the children. They'll go from there, and each child, boy and girl, of all ages, up to 21, they'll receive brand new school supplies, backpacks, and then they'll go further, and we have 100 Paul Mitchell associates for any of the kids that want to get their hair cut and styled. And then the best burger, bar none, not just in California and America, if not the world, truly In-N-Out hamburger.
And for one of the founders of the Fred Jordan Missions, servanthood is what it's all about.
I want these precious moms and kids to know that they're special. They matter. They're the poor, the underclass. Most people never see them, certainly never hear their voice. I want to be the voice for them because today people are caring.
If you just started tuning in to Faith with Flavor, that was a look into the Fred Jordan Missions and their back to school event held on Skid Row in Los Angeles, California. Well, without further ado, my very special guest this week is fashion designer Johana Hernandez.
Hello.
Johana, thank you so much for being here. It's such a pleasure to have you here on Faith with Flavor.
I'm so excited to be here. I love your show. I think it's so good that you bring some flavor into faith. You know, it's really exciting to share our testimony and show you how God's working in our lives and in the fashion world.
Exactly, and you are quite the superstar in the fashion world.
Well, I don't know about superstar, but let's just say like God's taking me a long way.
Amen. And when did you discover your love for all things fashion?
I never wanted to, I never thought I was going to be a fashion designer. That was nothing that I was like when I was little. I was like, I'm going to be a designer. It just kind of happened. And my family, when they came from El Salvador to here to the U.S., my parents, we were born here, me and my brothers, they started working in sweatshops and factories. And I was around the garment industry. And then my mom would make clothes for me as a little kid. I would babysit, and the money I made, I would go shopping. I had tons of clothes. And I guess I was always around it. So when I was 18, I got my first job as a head designer, but it was just God. He kind of opened those doors for me because I never looked for it. It just came to me.
And what was it like for you growing up in Compton?
Oh my gosh. So I actually lived in Compton I'm 29 now. So it's been, I grew up in Compton since I was 27. So 2 years ago, I bought a house and moved out of Compton. My whole family, I brought them to, the city. But I lived there for 27 years.
Wow.
And you know what? Honestly, like, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter where you live to achieve goals. I think a lot of us think just because we're born in a certain place, we can't grow out of it or do better things. I was a head designer for big companies since I was 18 for corporate brands. I mean, huge brands. And I've traveled the world since then. And I've been all over the place. I was on the show at Fashion Star with Nicole Richie, and at the same time, I was living in Compton. So I don't think you should, like, for people out there, like, don't worry if you don't live in a fabulous place and you think you can't be a designer or you can't be, places that are prestigious just because of where you're from.
Definitely. That's a good point you're making right there. And also, your parents are from El Salvador. Tell me what made them want to leave their homeland from El Salvador to come to America?
My mom, she was born in a place that was very poor in El Salvador, and my dad was born in a ranch kind of area. And I remember they told me that there was like war going on and it wasn't safe. So my dad came here to look for work, and when he found work, he was so in love with my mom that he went back to go get her. And they came not illegally here. And now since then they have their own businesses. They have real estate, and it's like. I really love how in the U.S. you can really grow. Like, there's so much opportunity, and they wanted to give us a better life, and they sure did.
Oh, that's beautiful. And have you gone to El Salvador yourself?
Yeah, I've actually been going since I was 8. Actually younger, but I just don't remember when I was younger, But when I was 8, I remembered going. My parents always took us back where they were born and raised, houses of mud. Well, my mom was the one in a more poverty area. It was like houses of mud, kids with no shoes, like how you see like World Vision, like that's the kind of kids we saw growing up. And we would take them all of our clothes and give it to them, our older clothes, that we didn't wear anymore. We would give them like piñata parties, give them food, all kinds of things. So it was really cool that my parents, since we were younger, they showed us that, like this is where, I grew up, so you need to be grateful for all the things that we're working hard for you. And since then, now I build schools out there in that area with my fashion brand, Glaudi.
That's so beautiful. I'm Salvadorian myself, and I've gone to El Salvador and witnessed, the need firsthand. But what was it like for you, Johana, to go back to your, the country of your parents and witness the poverty that strikes all the people that live there?
Yeah, I think for me, it just inspires me a lot because I feel like, honestly, like, it doesn't matter if you're wealthy or if you're not wealthy. Like, you can become successful. It's just a matter of hard work and dedication. And I think going there and seeing, because there's other people that I've seen that grew up from that area in El Salvador and are very successful, not only in the U.S., but also in the country. So to me, it just really inspired me a lot to, like, really help the schools out there, because I feel like education's number one. Like, I grew up in Compton, I'm not a chola. I never got into that. Like, I've always been a Christian girl, like pretty, like, preppy girl in the hood. So I just think it's all about education. And when I saw, like, there's schools out there that the kids, the only reason why they would go to school is because there was food. So I just, like, raised money through my brand to help the schools to fix the rooftops, to bring them computers. Since they don't have money to travel the world, they can see the world through the computer. So we brought them a lot of computers. So so every time I go, I just see, like, a need for things. But to be honest, like, with you, like, every time I go, it's more like they teach me a lot. Because over here, we kind of take things for granted. And over there, these kids are so happy with so little that it makes me, like, be happy with a little, too. Like, it's like, I shouldn't be a diva. Like, hello, like, they have, like, nothing out there, and they're, like, super happy. Like, they don't know more than that. And they're very grateful about life, and they're really funny kids, and I really enjoy hanging out with them.
What is one of the most valuable lessons that your parents have taught you?
I think the most valuable lessons that my parents have taught me is that like, to just be really united as a family, and also when it comes to finances, to be really smart about it, like save. Like, you don't, like, my parents would make very little money, and they were able to provide a home, provide our education, and I'm just like, how do you do it? Like, we like to shop, we're like, it's different now. We like shopping. And I'm like, I have expensive taste.
Yeah, you like nice things, right?
Yeah. But they've taught me how to be very, like, good with my finances, and just work really hard, and always be united with family. Because I think the reason why I feel like God gives me favor in my life, and I'm just super excited and happy about life, because I feel that I've always given back to my parents. I remember my first job when I was 18. When I got that job, I didn't even know they were going to pay me. I was just excited to get into the fashion industry as a designer. And they were like, no, we're going to give you a job as a designer, and we're going to pay you. And as soon as my first paycheck with my brother, we got the money together and we bought my dad a Mercedes.
Wow.
And we were like, we cannot have a nice car before our dad does, because then that's being fake and we don't want to be fake. And then after, I bought him a house and things like that. But I think when you really care about your family and take care of your parents, God really blesses you. And I know in the Bible it says that, if you take care of your parents, like he will bless you. So I've always done it just because I want to, and my brothers do, not because we're like, we have to,
Yeah, the Bible definitely says, honor thy father and mother.
Yeah.
But, getting back to you, you live a very glamorous life. People might look at you and see the glitz and the glam, but you're also a woman of faith.
Yeah.
How did you discover a personal relationship with Jesus Christ?
I grew up Christian in my family, but I went to a Christian Baptist church in Spanish. I grew up being told, let's all, because I was a little girl, so on Sundays we would go as a routine and things like that. So until I was 18, I accepted Christ on my own. And it was when I felt because when you have your roots and your parents show you the word of God and they show you that way, even when you try to get out of it, you have values and your morals are different. So even if you try to go bad, you can't, because you remember what they taught you, and you always have
there.
Yeah, you always have your parents in your mind, oh my gosh, I remember when they told me not to do that. So at 18, I accepted Christ, and as soon as I accepted Christ, I remember I felt like something came out of me, something I don't know, I just feel new. And after that, things just happened. I got my first job. I started traveling all over the world. I met, a gentleman at the time, and I had great friends. Everything just worked out together. But then after that, I think I got really successful very fast, very young. I was designing for multi-million-dollar brands since I was 18, 21, 22. And I started my brand at 24, Glaudy, which is to raise funds for kids out there, and evening gowns, working with celebrities, being on reality shows. It kind of made me a little lost. I was always, with God and focused on the Bible and stuff, but I don't feel like I was the best example to people. I wasn't really loving people because I was working so fast that I was forgetting to really appreciate people, because I was just on the go, go, go. So I think after I had another moment come back to Christ, maybe 2 years ago, when I went through a breakup of a long-term relationship. I learned wow, I need to stop and really focus on God, and stop everything I'm doing and really re-energize, because I felt I lost myself a little bit when it comes to fame and just being on the spotlight, because it's crazy when you're on the spotlight and you're dealing with all these great projects. They're from God, but sometimes you have to know how to discern when to pause, because you could lose yourself, you could lose your health. I remember I was really unhealthy, and now I'm just on fire again, but I took that break. I took that break to focus back on God, see what does God want from me? Do I still continue doing this, or do I go a different path?
That's a good word. And, I'm sure a lot of girls out there can relate to just heartbreak and what that feels like. But sometimes I feel like God uses that for his glory and, to bring us closer to him.
Yeah.
So praise God for that. But you know what? I know a lot of our viewers out there want to know also, that maybe they're inspiring fashion designers, or maybe in another element of, Hollywood that they want to get into. How did you get your first break or get your foot in the door?
Honestly, I've always, there's no I don't think there's a formula to it, but the only thing that I could say is just work really hard, be really good at everything you do, and be really friendly and kind to everyone, because you never know who you're talking to. Because my friend who was a girl from FITM, she was 18 years old. She told me there was a job opening and she didn't want it because it was a merchandising job, and she wanted to be a designer. But when I went, they told me, you're not a merchandiser, you're a designer, go to my brother, and they hired me. So it's she wasn't a successful person. She was just a young girl like me. But I'm really cool with everyone. I'm really easygoing. I hope I don't have enemies. I don't know that I do. You know what I mean? I love to be friends with everyone and just be kind, and not because I'm oh well, maybe there's someone, just because I want to be a person that I want to live a life with purpose. I don't want to live just hi bye. I want to get to know people and really be there for them and care for people if they need any advice or just a friend. And I think that's how building your network and really building real relationships will get you really far.
So how did you get your first break in the fashion world?
Oh, I went to that job interview. My friend told me about it. I went and they gave me my job. I remember when I went to FITM too, they told me you should be a fashion designer, but because my parents, I mean, we're living in Compton, my parents were still not making a lot of money. They told me the school is really expensive. And I was just like, man, I cannot go as a fashion designer to FITM. Like, they're going to be like, you know, like, I felt like being a fashion designer was like being a rock star. Like, everyone wants to be a singer and be famous. Everyone wants to be a designer and be popular. And I was like, I'm not made for that. Like, I thought that's not for me. So I went for a merchandising major, but my counselors were like, no, you should be a designer. And I was like, oh my gosh, like my dad can't afford it. But again, like when God has something for you, no one can take it away from you. So when I went to that job as a merchant, they told me the same thing. I got a job as a designer, and then I went back to school, and I had to go back as a designer.
And that led to many more doors opening for you, including being in one reality show, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So I was on NBC Fashion Star. This was about 2 or 3 years ago, and my mentor was Nicole Richie. When I worked with Jessica Simpson and John Barbados, my collection on that show was in 150 countries. I remember going to Hong Kong, and I saw myself in a commercial with Nicole Richie, so it was pretty cool. I also had to design for the Fiat Design Challenge, and I won the Fiat campaign. I got a special edition Gucci Fiat for free because I won it designing the campaign, and it was just an amazing experience. I think. And another thing is like the reason why I was able to shine is because I was real. I was that girl that was from the hood and was trying to, you know, succeed as a designer. And before I used to be really shy about saying, oh, I'm from Compton, because I felt like people would judge me. But then I learned that me being honest made me stand out from the competition, because a lot of girls, I mean, designers just don't come from Compton. You know, I mean, Dr. Dre and all of them, or Snoop Dogg, I think he's from Long Beach, but rappers. But honestly, like being yourself and being honest and being humble about where you come from and sharing that really makes you like stand out, being yourself.
Let's get to the good stuff. You designed a luxury brand known as Glaudi. How did you come up with that name, Glaudi?
So Glaudi, so my mom, we grew up in her working in factories, and my parents too. So her name's Gladys. My middle name is Gladys, and I was like, I want to make a brand that means like my parents' hard work. Like I saw them sewing for 35 cents a pocket, long hours, you know. So I made Glaudi because it's inspired by my family. Like Gladys, my mom, and my middle name. And then since then, like it's been on the red carpet. A lot of celebrities have loved it. You guys can shop on it online at cloudycollection.com. And it's just been really great. Like it's opened so many doors. I just came from New York Fashion Week. I was in LA Fashion Week, and it's just been amazing, like doing Glaudi. And then this season, I launched a new collection called House of Glaudi, which is ready to wear everyday clothes. So I designed for women and young girls to look the part and not break your bank. So you're gonna look like expensive, sophisticated, classy, elegant, but at the same time, you're not gonna be spending thousands of dollars. And that's House of Glaudi.
Well, I can't wait to look at this collection you're talking about. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at her new collection, Glaudi. Take a look at this.
Blue jeans, white shirt, walked into the room, you know you made my eyes burn. It was like James Dean, for sure. You're so fresh to death and sick as cancer. You were sweater punk block, I grew up on hip-hop, but you fit me better than my favorite sweater. And I know that love is mean, and love hurts, but I still remember that day we met in December. Oh baby, I will love you till the end of time. I would wait a million years.
If you just started tuning into Faith with Flavor, that was a brief look into Johana's newest collection, House of Glaudi. Wow,
Yes.
Johana, all I can say is wow, you have impeccable taste,
Thank
girl.
you. So that was New York Fashion Week. It was like a dream come true to be part of New York Fashion Week because that's where like the fashion is like super serious. It's like the capital of fashion. And actually this was Glaudi with House of Glaudi. So the pieces that were evening gowns were Glaudi, and the pieces that were more ready to wear casual, not casual, but you know, like more everyday clothing was House of Glaudi. And then I also do customized Glaudi bridal, which is one of my passions because I mean, for me to design
Wow.
your one in a lifetime dress, it's like a dream come true, and I always make the dresses like perfectly how they want them, and it's just, you know, making their day extra special as a bride.
Well, too bad I'm already married, or else I would definitely take you up on that offer.
Well, we could play dress up, you know what I mean?
Or,
You can
or
just-
10 years after my 10
10 years.
Yeah.
10 years.
Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about how your business helps the less fortunate.
So, and all since I launched Glaudi, really, like since I started it, it started as a charity, like for charity, for a fundraiser that we used to have called Latinos con Corazón, where my friends and I would get together and do fashion shows with my collection and raise funds through the ticket sales. So Glaudi was never supposed to be a business, but after I was 24 years old, and it just started to, you know, get a lot of momentum, and a lot of celebrities loved it. So now, because I don't have as much time as to do the charity events, I give a percentage of all sales through Glaudi, House of Glaudi, and Glaudi Bridal. So if you shop my collection at GlaudiCollection.com, that's the way I'm able to build schools and help kids less fortunate in Latin America and Mexico also. But in El Salvador is where I built the school, out in the area where my mom was raised. It was very poor, and they don't have much there. It's just one school that brings them food, basic essentials, that I've been able to provide for them, computers too, with the help of friends and the people that shop Glaudi.
And how can our audience today partner with you on your mission to really help the less fortunate?
The best way is to go onto my website. You can either donate, but mainly it's by shopping the collection. So every piece that's bought, percentage goes to the kids. And that's the way I'm able to make you look great and also help the less fortunate.
You know, Johana, people have different callings. You know, some are called to be pastors, some are called to be teachers. You were called to be in fashion. What do you hope to convey with the message of your life?
I just want to give people hope, and like I want to give them, inspire them to like pursue their dreams and not to ever give up, and not to be sad about life, to enjoy it, enjoy the moment that you're in. Know that, you know, maybe you feel like you need certain things in order to get to in the fashion world, but know that you don't. You only need to believe in yourself and have faith in God, and He will open those doors for you. But get out of your room, get out of your comfort zone. Like, I've been out of my comfort zone. I mean, I've been in China. My first trip was China. I didn't even speak Mandarin, and now I've been going for 10 years. It's very out of my comfort zone. So I think it's so important to get out of your comfort zone, just meet people, you know, and be kind, and God will open those doors for you. It's all about relationships mostly.
Why was it important for you to create a line for hardworking, ambitious women?
To me, House of Gladly was really important, special to me, because when I started my job, I lived in Compton, you know what I mean? I wasn't a professional woman, I had no experience, but my style really made me look older and sophisticated, and I really looked the part. In fashion, it's sad to say, but you are judged by your style, because that's what fashion's all about. So House of Gladly really gives you that sophisticated, classy, sexy look that's modern and elegant. And it really takes you places. If you dress the part, you will be there. Like, if you want to be a CEO, dress like one. If you want to be, you know, a fashionista, dress like a fashionista. And House of Gladly gives you those pieces.
Johana, just sitting here with you, I'm inspired. So I know our audience at home is inspired, and I want you to just look into that camera for me and just speak to our viewers. Maybe there's somebody out there with a dream, and by watching you fulfill your dream of being in fashion, they feel inspired right now. Would you just encourage them right now?
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Johana Hernandez, and I'm here with Faith with Flavor, and I'm so excited to share with you that if you have faith in God and you're consistent and you just believe in yourself, you can reach many, many dreams. So just get out of your room, get out of your comfort zone, and go get them. Be nice to people, and you'll see how God opens doors for you and gives you favor in your life.
Amen. Well said. That was beautiful.
Thank
and
you.
what is next for you, Johana?
You know what? Honestly, when people say that, I don't know. But I do want a family. I do want to get married in the future. I think that's something that's like my next step. But I know that God has so many great things for me. So I don't know. Like, I'm not a girl that's like, okay, by this time I'm going to have my business blow up this much. I'm not like that. I just go year by year. And God, I mean, this year I was in New York Fashion Week, LA Fashion Week. Next year is going to be bigger. So just follow me on my Instagram at Gladly Johana, and you'll see where I'm going.
Well, that is all
Thank
the time
you.
we have, Johana. Thank you so much for being here with us. And thank you at home for watching and for being a part of what happens right here on Faith with Flavor. God bless you. Bye-bye.